MotorWeek is made possible by Lucas Oil, Auto Value and Bumper to Bumper, and TireRack.com.
After a year of waiting and anticipating, this all-new 7th generation Mustang is finally ready to be driven.
And because a new Mustang is kind of a big deal, MotorWeek has sent both of us out here to Pasadena, California, where Ford has invited us to drive both the EcoBoost and GT models.
Now, enjoy some voiceover while we rock, paper, scissors for first dibs. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock.
Let's start off with the Mustang's new looks. Styling isn't radically different on the outside, but the sheet metal is more chiseled than last gen. All models have new tri-bar headlights and a unique front end, with the GT sporting larger but still very functional grille openings. The biggest departure is the rear end, which sees a new concave design that integrates the traditional tri-bar tail lamps. So that's how it looks. Let's see how it drives.
So this is the 2024 Mustang GT Coupe. They have convertibles here today.
Yep.
They had EcoBoosts
Yesterday,
which you got some time in that one.
Yes.
Some good time. But right now this is the GT Coupe, which is the V8. This is the Mustang that everybody thinks of.
Yes.
A V8 engine, now up to 486 horsepower, still out of a 5-liter, but Ford is saying it's an all-new engine. They're calling it an all-new engine. And it's naturally aspirated, so it's just beautifully linear. I mean, who we were driving with earlier, we were talking about turbos, and I think we all agree that turbocharged engines are great. They're a lot of fun, but then you get back into a naturally aspirated engine like this one. It's so linear, the power is up high, which is really when you start having fun in a car, when the power is up high in the rev band, so you rev it out. Actually going in a second. So this does have automatic rev matching, which I was able to get down from 3rd to 2nd there. I will say that it's not quite as quick as some other rev matching programs that we've used in other manual transmissions. You almost have to wait just a beat to let out the clutch, but certainly helpful on these very steep canyon roads.
Yes. They've been very clear that this is a modern Mustang. I mean, yes, it pays homage to the past, but with certain design cues and stuff. But what they really want is that this is a 21st century Mustang. I mean, I like the fact that you can go back to the cool Fox body gauges of the past. You wouldn't be able to do that with anything analog.
Those do look very cool, and I've never driven a Fox body. I know what the gauges look like, and I gotta say, they are pretty cool.
And also, it's like, what do we expect to see in the future, right? There's going to be more over-the-air updates in which they can add all sorts of stuff, right?
The Mustang has always been a car that people like to customize, and it's only been more true as the years have gone on. Now Ford is just giving customers more ability to do so right out of the showroom.
Yes, absolutely.
I think they pretty much hit the nail on the head of making an evolutionary Mustang that still has its old school roots, going into the digital age, and most of that honestly comes down to just the inside of the car. The outside very much looks like a traditional Mustang. You can't really change a Mustang much, and unfortunately it still drives very much like a Mustang. This V8's mid-range to high-end torque, very linear here in 3rd gear. What I love about this engine, well, it's a 4th generation engine now, but I always forget in the Mustang 5-liter is how much it revs and how much it likes to rev. And I like to rev it because this is what you get. It sounds phenomenal, and this is in normal mode. I'm gonna go up to sport and open up the valves a little bit. That's what you want. This is a Mustang.
The brakes in this GT are very smooth, incredibly smooth. They're not touchy.
Right there, I know, I didn't have to get used to it at all. I put my foot on the brake, and it was the exact right amount of pressure that I needed. They had the 6-piston Brembo brakes just sitting out on a table, and my God, they are big. They look big behind a wheel, but when you see them just sitting on a table, just a massive aluminum block of stopping power, they are massive.
They're huge.
Going through some of the bumps there, again, part of the Mustanginess, despite the rear independent suspension, it's not totally settled on like mid-corner bumps. I'm feeling a lot of them, and it does kind of bounce me around a little bit. It just goes back to the whole Mustanginess of the Mustang.
I mean, it's a little rough around the edges, right? That driving experience. It's not going to be like incredibly smooth. I mean, this is a sports car, and we have a lot of power here, a lot of torque, and you want to be able to feel it. Now, if you want to take things down a notch, there's always the standard EcoBoost powertrain that I mentioned I drove the day before. And I used the EcoBoost to test out arguably one of the coolest new features on the new Mustang, the electronic drift brake. Ford had a small course set up for us to test it out. It's super simple to use. No buttons, just pull up and hold to engage the brake and lock the rear wheels. It wasn't long before I got the hang of things, and drifting was a breeze. And while I could have kept drifting all day, it was time to hit the road and see how the EcoBoost and its upgraded turbo handled day-to-day driving. So I know the EcoBoost gets a lot of flack since it has a turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, sort of being dubbed Mustang Light, right? And yes, it doesn't have as much horsepower as the GT or the upcoming Dark Horse, but it still has 315 horsepower, which is still a decent amount of horsepower. It's up 5 from last generation. But what really makes this thing feel fast is the 350 pound-feet of torque. And since we're in California, we are driving the Mustang on some curvy canyon roads, and it feels very confident on a lot of these turns. It just sticks to the road. And the steering's been adjusted a little bit, so it feels pretty precise whenever I want to make a quick adjustment. And overall, it's very easy to drive. Pricing for the 2024 Ford Mustang starts at just over $32,000 for the EcoBoost, while the GT starts around $43,000. They'll start arriving in dealerships this summer. We'll have more on the new Ford Mustang, including the Dark Horse, coming soon. So keep it locked right here on MotorWeek.